Okay. Once again, it's still Commissioner Rothstein from District 5. He only did not.
Cheers.
Okay. Let's get into some agency briefings. We got the Community College, HR, Historical Society, and then Circuit Court. First up, Dr. Ball, thank you for being here. And let's hear, oh, I apologize. Ted, I saw you pipe in there. I don't want to take away your thunder. Did I miss something? Mr. Zaleski?
No, you didn't miss anything. We're good.
Okay, I apologize. Dr. Ball and Carroll Community College. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. We are coming to you from my office. We are masked. We're hoping you're hearing us fine. If not, please let me know and I'll make my voice a little clearer or a little louder. And we appreciate the opportunity as we do every year and meeting with you and talking with you about our needs. This is a relatively short presentation and an easy one. Alan is going to be projecting from his screen our presentation and is pulling that up right now, and he's going to be sharing his screen.
Okay.
So that's the theory at the moment.
That's the theory. We're sticking with it.
But now I'm looking for my ability to actually share my screen. That I've clicked, and now I'm looking for where my presentations are. So if
I'm taking over.
the control room is there, feel free to jump in.
We have tech assistants here. Just there it is. It's showing.
I see a briefing.
I've got it.
You're running it, Matt?
Chris has got it. I've got it.
Chris has got it. Okay.
Okay, Chris, thank you.
All right. Well, we again appreciate it, and I want to point out that both David Bollinger and Dave O'Callahan, are two of our trustees, are with us today as well, providing a little support, a little background, little comment for you. But the idea is that we are, because of the situation with funding and not knowing exactly what's going on with our budget state-wise, we're just going to explain where we are right now. So if you go to the next slide.
Chris, I'm assuming you've got it because I'm not getting any opportunity to move it forward.
We're there.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, so as you know, and I'm going to briefly tell you what we're asking for. Alan will go into a little more detail, so I'll roll through this fairly quickly. We're asking initially for providing $216,483 in ongoing money to support a 1% salary increase. Right now, what we do know from the governor's funding is that it will support a 2% increase that we could award from state funds. So we know that we'd be able to give a 3% increase. That's important to us. If that money comes through from the state that we're anticipating, which is a higher number than what the governor's budget has allocated for us, we would withdraw this request, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Then we're asking for one-time money for technology improvement. We've come to before, and Alan will talk about that too, for matching money that we would go out and match, and so we're asking for $1 million to extend our opportunities for doing that. And then in the next slide, we're looking about at $2 million or so towards a $4 million project for, and this is one-time funds, for getting our turf field and outdoor track program started. This would be again, a facility that would be publicly accessible from Parks and Recs and the rest of it. But we can't move forward to ask for state funding for this without a promise from the county. And then we're looking at the opportunity to, if you're able to provide $2 million to us towards our other post-employment benefits, or OPEB. I'm going to turn it over to Alan to talk through what those elements are. Alan.
Okay, Chris, next slide, please. Thank you very much. So as Dr. Ball indicated, you have committed already to a 5-year matching program with our foundation. FY22 is the last year of that 5-year commitment. What we are hoping the county will consider is continuing that matching opportunity with another $1 million of one-time funds that our foundation would then match over the next 5 years to allow us to continue our technology program at $500,000 a year, which is our current expense level. Next slide, please. Dr. Ball has already mentioned the turf field, obviously. We wanted you to know it would cover a turf field, lighting, outdoor track, and seating. And we have now begun both men's and women's soccer and men's and women's lacrosse. And we feel in order for those programs to really be successful and to not chew up the one grass field that we now have access to, that we need to be looking at moving that to a turf environment. As Dr. Ball indicated, if that was successful, we'd be sharing that space with Recs and Parks and the community at large. Next slide, please. You're all very familiar with those other post-employment benefits, commonly called OPEB. We have, over a series of years, been able to contribute $2.2 million. That only represents about 9.2% of our total liability. We're hoping that if the county could contribute one-time funds of an additional $2 million, that would bring our liability funded to about 17.5%, start getting us to a much better stable position. It's particularly important to us because our rating agencies, the accrediting agencies, middle states, looks at our overall financial benefit situation and is hoping to see more commitment to our OPEB liability. This trust fund is managed by the county, and theoretically, if you were to approve this, the money could come straight from your budget directly into the trust and not go into the college's budget at all. It would just be a transfer from yours to the trust. Ted can talk more about that if you were to approve this. Next slide, please.
So just a brief recap for you. We told you what we were going to tell you. We told you what we've told you. And then we're going to, just sort of recap a little bit. Again, in terms of the salary increase, it's really important to us. But if the state is able to fund us, what they would be doing would be, the proposal on the table right now is to fund community colleges at 27% of the required 29% tie to the University of Maryland system budget. And if that's the case, that ends up being somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 14% increase to community colleges. And that would help us immeasurably. And we would withdraw this particular request. And then the SIP funds for technology improvement. And again, this is something we would be matching. And then that next slide has the next two elements on it, the track and field and the post-retirement benefits at about $2 million each. And I'd like to turn it over to Dave Bollinger and Dave O'Callahan. Now, Dave Bollinger would like to make a few comments to you.
Thank you, Jim, and I appreciate everybody's time today. When we had the college campaign, the commissioners set in place a matching campaign, which was highly successful and very well received by other people who made contributions. So basically, we would like to take that wonderful opportunity and extend it on as a way to raise funds for the college.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Any
That was what,
comments?
Dave, 300,000?
It was 350,000 each year, and It was a phenomenal idea, and it really gained a lot of traction with people who wanted to be a part of it.
Dave O'Callahan, did you want to talk a little bit as well?
Muted, Dave.
You're muted, Dave.
Yeah, and thanks, Dr. Ball. Thanks, Dave. And yeah, and as a donor, that always helped me too, to know that my money was going doubled. But I also wanted to talk about the sports field. I really think that's putting a little polish on the gem we call the community college, and that it would be a great place for people to come see the sports team. It's been a great recruiting tool. It'll also be great for the community, place to hold championship soccer track meets and to have tournaments. And I just think it really is a good part. It's a good recruiting tool and good for the college and good for the community. Thanks, Dr. Ball.
All right, thank you. And I would just add to those comments that that particular investment in the facilities here would last a long time. That would it'll be a while before we're in a position to move to other elements of the development of athletic facilities here. You know, we understand that that's a long-term issue for the county and for the college. But getting this particular element started is really important to us. And again, I emphasize if the money doesn't come from the county first, we're not going to qualify for anything available in the state or through federal monies. And there's a lot out there right now that we could go after, but can't do it without some sort of commitment from the county first. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all for any questions that you have.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Just one, if you had to prioritize this, what would be your top first and second priority?
They are listed in priority order. So it would
Okay.
be technology funding, the track and field, and seating and lighting, turf field, and then the OPEB support.
Okay.
Dr. Ball, you're talking about the outdoor track and field and how if the county puts up money that you're eligible for other money to come in. Is there a percentage amount that the county has to put up in order for you to be eligible for that? Or is the $2 million just what you thought would be a good ask?
So this is Alan. Typically with the state, it's roughly a 50-50 match. So that's
Okay.
what we put in just to create that opportunity. But we're not exactly sure yet what pot of money we'd be eligible for. So we thought we'd be on the conservative side and make sure we had at least a 50% match from the county.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good question.
It was good. Not great, but good. Okay. Any other?
You said great, you have a much better chance of getting it, but
No,
now
no,
that's that already.
just saying. It was good. Any other questions?
I'm glad I'm
Comments.
sitting over here.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your time. And okay, that's good.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Chris, for bailing me out.
You got it.
Gentlemen, we will say adieu.
Thank you very much.
I do.
We appreciate your work. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's move on to HR, Human Resources. Hey, Robin. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Ask Chris to make.
Yeah.
Technology only moves so fast. It's not Christmas fault.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then-
So the Swami, did you notice that? The Swami got a little testy. Did
You
you
did
guys
get a
hear
little
that?
testy. I mean, Ms. Hooper.
My mic was
very,
off.
Very, very patient. Okay.
We're trying to bring it up.
You see it in front of us.
From the beginning,
F5.
F5,
F5.
um, Right? This way that,
How do you feel about that?
what is that?
Okay.
Is that working?
We still have the other stuff that's on the screen.
We can see it.
Okay,
Now you gotta get that.
okay. Yep. We're good. All right. Good afternoon. In recent months, we have heard you voice concerns regarding recruitment and retention issues. More specifically, some of you have mentioned concerns relating to our pay rates, the number of recent retirements, and the need to outsource when we were unsuccessful in filling a vacancy. I am here today because we share the same concerns. This is not just about what one person makes. It's much bigger than that. It's about the whole organization. It's about how do we get the right people here? How do we get the people that have the skills necessary to get the job done? How do we continue to get the work done with our lean staff, increased turnover, and time to fill? We want people to come here, to stay here, and to be here. As budget has already presented to you, a 3.55% cost of living adjustment is included in the recommended budget. A cost of living adjustment is intended to do nothing more than offset the impact of inflation. The 3.55% is going to be above the inflation rate, but this is what you have to do to meet the law. Keep in mind, this was the state's decision to raise the minimum wage. You did not decide to do this. This will also be one small step towards improving our salary scales. Commissioners, you may remember this slide during the Department of Management and Budget's presentation of the recommended budget. In fiscal year 14, the minimum wage was $7.25, and our C5 base pay was $11.90. Going forward through the years, you can see how the relationship of grade C5 has changed relative to the minimum wage. Our starting pay is no longer an advantage over minimum wage jobs the way it was in 14. That change in relationship creates two problems with C5. The first step in your pay scale. Externally, we are now competing with the local retail stores and food chains. Internally, we will have interns starting at the same rate of pay as our existing C5 employees with several years of experience in service. An intern who's here to gain experience will be making the same as someone who has years of service with us. So yes, the 3.55% COLA meets the law. However, what it doesn't do is address salary compression. Let me explain what compression is, and this is really important. Employee A, starting fiscal year 21, just getting the recommended COLA to meet the new minimum wage law, will be making the same as employee E hired in fiscal year 25. There is no recognition for employee A years of service with the county. In fact, employee A might be training employee E. So while the minimum wage compliance will adjust the scales, it does not move the employees within those scales. So yes, the COLA is just about meeting the law. It will not help us with addressing compression. It will not help us with the issues of attracting, recruiting, and retaining employees. So our request, in addition to the 3.55% COLA, is a 2% annual service increment. Again, attracting, recruiting, and retaining employees is becoming more challenging, and I'm going to share these concerns in the upcoming slides. Applications. We like getting a lot of applications. Typically, more application means a better applicant pool. But one of our growing issues is a decrease in applications. This makes it more difficult to fill positions. In fiscal year 17, the average number of applications received per position posted was 25. In 19, the average was 18. In fiscal year 21, the average is 10. More recently, we have received less than 5 applications for some postings. So not only are we getting fewer applications, we are also seeing a decline in fully qualified applicants. While we like to see a lot of applications, the quality of the applications is even more important. So a smaller application pool plus less experienced applicants is putting more pressure on agencies. In past, supervisors struggled to limit the number of candidates to interview to 10. Now, we are lucky if we get a total of 10 applicants, a few of which may be fully qualified. So with the fewer applications, as well as the lack of fully qualified applicants, we find ourselves reposting jobs. More recently, for some positions, we have given up on a deadline and leave it open until filled, just hoping the right person will apply. Currently, if someone looks on the county website, they will see several of our positions open until filled, potentially causing people to wonder why we cannot fill positions. Just want to give you some examples. A boiler mechanic has been vacant since the end of 2019. We have only received 8 applications so far. I repeat, just 8 applications so far. That's for almost a year and a half that position has been vacant. A plans examiner, we have recently extended it because we have only received 1 application. A master plumber we've posted. We haven't received any applications and now have changed it to open until filled. Roads positions, we constantly are posting throughout the year, and we're even now advertising with signs on the trucks. And still, we are left with vacancies. And even when we are fortunate enough to find the right person, we are not always successful when it comes to make the offer and close the deal. So we receive the applications, we go through the entire interview process and make our selection. They want to work here and we want them to work here. We make them the offer and they turn us down. This could be for a number of reasons, but sometimes the applicant had an idea that they could be able to negotiate a better salary. This results for frustrations for the agencies that they are already operating lean. They've invested the time to get the right person, but they're still left with the vacancy. Another reason why people decline the offer is due to our inability to guarantee salary progression. People often ask, is there an opportunity for salary growth? Where will I be in 5 years? While nothing is ever 100% certain, without an established pay plan, we cannot provide any certainty. So not only does the uncertainty of salary progression result in the declined offers, it also leads to turnover. When we talk about turnover, there are several things to think about. One is our length of service and the experience that comes with it. In fiscal year 15, the average year of service was 13. It is now 10. Another related concern is the rate at which employees are leaving. As you see, resignations have been steadily increasing and retirements have remained steady. The most common reason employees give for leaving is their pay and also the uncertainty about the salary progression. So without a predictable plan for pay increases, employees are considering other opportunities may offer, or employees who are considering other opportunities may be more inclined to accept that offer, and employees who are near or close to retirement may choose to retire sooner. So commissioners, you also recently expressed your concerns about the number of employees who are eligible to retire and the knowledge and experience we will lose. As of June 30th, approximately 10% of the people who work for you are fully eligible to retire. Please keep in mind there are some employees who may just qualify for retiree health or a partial pension. There is no way for us to predict when an employee may choose to leave before they are fully eligible. But how are we going to fill the talent gap that's left? and find someone with the right skills to replace them. While we have no control over when employees will choose to retire, if you approve our salary request, it will help us in the recruitment efforts. So we're just going to go back for a moment, some of the things that we have been talking about. We're experiencing the lack of applications, the lack of fully qualified applicants, experiencing a length of time to fill vacancies, the number of offers that are being declined, turnover, and the number of eligible employees who are ready to retire. This is an entire organizational problem. In fact, not one of these challenges alone is the single cause of the issue. It's a combination of all of them. These issues have an impact on our ability to recruit and retain employees that provide our county services. If we don't address it, things will get worse. So in summary, we are asking you to keep the recommended 3.55% cost of living adjustment and fund the additional 2% annual service increment to help address this compounding organizational issue. Remember, the COLA is just about meeting the law and moving the scales. The annual step will move the person within the scales. It will not completely solve our issues, but it will begin to take pressure off. And thank you for your consideration for this.
Robin, just one question. How many people, let's say in the last year, declined an offer, job offer?
I can go back the last 4 months. It's been 4.
4 in the last 4 months. Okay.
Yeah. And that's not that's more external. That's not including, we've had some internals who have declined, but at least there's been 4 in the last couple months.
Interesting.
Okay.
Hey,
What else?
Robin, where are we with benefits? How do we compare to our surrounding jurisdictions when it comes to benefits? Are we keeping pace there? Because I'm going to tell you, I've been a government employee since 1982, and it was always where you didn't really know that you were going to make what you could in private industry, but we far exceeded as government employees the ability to get good benefits. And that at one point was sort of the way that the scale tipped, if you will, because folks wanted to work because health insurance and all of that was incredibly important to people. Are you advising now that scale is tipping because folks don't really put an emphasis on that benefit part of it anymore? And how are we with, I know you probably can't, I don't know if you can compare it to private, but how are we with surrounding jurisdictions?
We can compare and talk about how we compare to other jurisdictions, but everyone's not looking for the benefit part. They'll tell you you can't take your benefits home in a paycheck. So people have for different reasons. They want to come. Sometimes it's about the pay. It's not about the benefits. The other part from a recruitment standpoint, with the fact of the Affordable Care Act, you can stay on your parents' insurance up to the age of 26. So we're not pulling from that applicant pool any longer.
Interesting.
So it's becoming more challenging.
Is that even if you get?
No, Emily is 20.
That's if you're single, right?
What, 26?
Yeah.
No, Emily is 25, and we have her for 1 more year on
Okay.
our coverage. But
Okay.
once she turns 26, she turns into a pumpkin and has to find benefits. And
Yeah.
so you're right. The younger grouping, that 20 to 25, the benefits are not nearly as popular. But sure, after 26 to 30, they're looking hard for benefits. I want to say outweighing salary, but
that is okay.
significant. Absolutely.
The
Yes.
older they get, the more concerned they are about benefits
Yeah.
compared to
Absolutely.
the salary at the beginning. And
Sure.
are we in line with that, I guess, is what I'm asking.
As far as the benefits,
Well, benefits and salary, so a younger person coming in can make more and then also the benefits go up as they get older. I guess that's impossible to,
Yeah, I don't know how you track that, I guess,
align,
but
but that's what they're asking or looking for, I would think.
well, and we do, when we're making the offer, we go through extensive details of our benefits and what we're currently contributing from the employee standpoint, and we're still not able to close the deal. The salary is still the tipping point here.
Okay.
But the salaries that we're talking about are salaries of existing employees to get them a total of 5.5%, 5.55% in total.
Well,
And
But when we're making the offer, it's about the base of what we're posting.
I think the question for me is, would that change, that 5% additional change, be that appealing to folks that we're recruiting? I mean, is it that significant where, you got a $50,000 salary is 52.5 going to make that big of a difference in recruiting an individual?
I think in some positions it would be a start to help with this.
Okay.
well, you
Just a thought here, would a sign-on bonus be a benefit?
Um,
X amount after you're here 6 months, you get whatever, I don't know.
I think we could look to discuss that more, but I'm not sure what help with the retention standpoint. When people are looking for where will I be in 5 years,
It's gonna be-
and if we want to retain them.
that's interesting.
Right, from my experience with teaching, if you front load this pay scale, or if you give a bonus at the
Right.
beginning, the people have been there for a while. Number one, don't benefit from that. Number two, it upsets them
Yeah,
because then
Right.
you're putting all that money up here. I've been here for 10 years or whatever it happens to
Right.
be. I'm not getting anything. And be very frank, I don't think it's fair either, just from my perspective.
Right.
Right. That's a tool that a lot of folks are using now too, though.
Mhm.
Bill. I
Right,
mean,
but you get people in the door, you train them very well,
Right, right.
and they,
especially in the healthcare industry, because you can't find nurses anywhere.
Yeah.
So they're uploading like
Mhm.
my wife was looking at an offer coming out of the state of Maine. They were offering like $25,000 plus moving expenses to get you up there to work as an RN.
wow.
So they're using that
And you're still
as
here?
a tool. Yeah, I'm still here. I don't know.
was that just?
No,
for
she's
her?
going. I'm still.
That's right. And the benefit of getting rid of. no.
Well, he said that. Okay, see, you went in a place that I wasn't going.
I'm just
So-
saying,
We could add to that.
Hey, by the way, Robin,
we
that
could
was a
add more
very,
bonuses.
very well put together presentation you just did. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Right to
Thank
the
you.
point. Great.
I think, where Commissioner Weaver was asking as well, I'd be interested to looking at options focused on bonuses of the current workforce, but then also potential bonuses of bringing folks on, and how that would how that would compare to what you're sharing here, and some of the pros and cons associated with that. Because then we're talking one-time funds as opposed to ongoing funds. And I don't want Ted to fall off his seat, but sometimes it's easier for us to be looking at one-time funds than ongoing. So, okay.
Well, I guess we can wait to debate that until we get to the session. but
Yeah, no,
What
absolutely.
you're saying is true and all,
Yeah.
but it's not really solving the
Right.
problem at all.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I see.
see.
Compression.
Yeah.
I see both sides
Yeah.
of that, but that's deliberation.
So just wanted,
Right,
Right.
right.
Very exciting.
okay. Commissioner Boucher?
If I may, I want to thank Ms. Hooper for stepping up to the plate and filling in the responsibility. It came at you fast, but you've done a wonderful job today. And this issue on salary is a crisis across the board. We hear it at a sheriff's department. It's affecting businesses out there that I conduct business with, trying to get people on board. And this will just keep getting worse with the inflationary rate creeping in on us, because the money we pay our employees is going to buy less. And I think it ultimately also affects the composition of our board. Four of my colleagues are retired, which allows them the flexibility to serve in this capacity. I'm fortunate enough to have a business where I can. The salary of commissioner has been $45,000 since 2001. So this board suffers from the same crisis that everyone else does. It's hard to get people who are willing to come to work for the county, be it a commissioner or a staff member. So any way possible we can, through budget, and try to address this and get our wages up, will be better to attract more people, because all of us might be gone in a year and a half, and I can't even find someone who wants to replace me for this amount of money. So we as commissioners feel the exact same impact that our staff does. We need to provide more salary for the best qualified employees that are out there. We have a liability. I know in my business, I don't want to pay someone the cheapest I can get when I have a liability if welds break and people get killed from not having qualified personnel. That liability exposure also affects us as a county government, that we need to be out there trying to attract the best employees and paying what they need to survive. So any way possible we can help get staff more money, I'm all interested in it. And Ms. Hooper, thanks again for stepping up to the plate.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else for the good group? No. Thank you again, Robin. And
Thank you.
okay, let's move on to Historical Society of Carroll County.
Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning,
Morning.
or afternoon for that matter.
Yeah.
Right.
It's morning somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get my presentation to come up.
The Swami's working on it.
Okay, we got it.
Matt stepped in. Thank you, Matt.
We see it in front of us.
I think I got zipped off somehow.
Okay,
Is everybody still there? I'm trying
Yep.
to do this from two corners. I'm trying to do the presentation from my laptop here in the Historical Society of Carroll County, but I'm reaching you through my phone, so I'm on both mediums. Our
about-
computers are so old here, we don't have cameras, so I have to work off my phone.
I was gonna say, how about you talk and we can change the slides by you just saying next slide.
Terrific. Well, commissioners, I know you are on a very tight schedule and you have a lot of things to hear today, so I won't take up too much of your time. What I'm coming to you is with a request for an additional $6,000 to our usual support that we get from the county, and we're terrifically grateful for that support. So $6,000 would represent a 10% increase. Let's go to our next slide. So first of all, I want to give you a very quick thank you for the plotter that you included in last year's allotment. It was an earmark from our $60,000, and it was an additional $2,500. And just so you know how that money was used, we can now print our own panels and design our own exhibit panels. And with our exhibit that we were able to construct in August, we came up with Breaking Barriers, which celebrated the year the women got suffrage and voting, and also specific women and people in our community that broke barriers with both being female, and also sometimes they were of color. So that's a new exhibit that the community can enjoy. And we have it on virtually if you haven't had a chance to drop by here and look at it. Next slide. So just to kind of remind you, we have 3 historic structures on Westminster, in Westminster on Main Street, and we have a 4th that we manage at Emerald Hill, and then we have a couple of storage spots throughout the county. We normally have 3 full-time staff members and 2 contractors and a lot of volunteers. However, I will tell you right now, we are down to just one staff member and a couple of contractors. You're probably looking at one of the worst paid executive directors you'll see today because I'm a volunteer myself. So we're stepping up to the plate and trying to make ends meet. But with the next slide, you might be able to see some of our challenges. We have all kinds of wonderful opportunities, even though we're in a time of COVID, where we're able to present outdoor programs and indoor programs that are virtual. So just for the month of May, which is Preservation Month and it's coming up, I wanted to share with you some of the exciting things we're doing. We're going to take part in the Flower and Jazz Festival with volunteers staffing a table to celebrate preservation here with HSCC. We have a volunteer cleanup day to help clean up the campus and refresh it, planned for the middle of May as another Preservation Month activity. We have our Pastime for Children's program, which is open to anyone in the community to register, and this will focus in on Native Americans in Carroll County. We have our box lunch talk, which I'll be presenting on preservation in the city of Westminster and throughout the region. And that will be available on virtual programming. So you can zoom into that and get a free box lunch talk. And then we'll also be hosting a tour of the Westminster Cemetery by Mimi Ashcraft and Dave Bear. And that will sort of top off our preservation activities for the month. Thank you. So this has been our income for this year. It's a projected income of $182,000 approximately. And that's partly down because we don't have any in-person programming here. We can't really charge for our bus tours because we don't have them. We can't really charge for our box lunch talks. We've looked into monetizing them online, and it just was so much free programming out there with so many other historical venues. I just don't think we would be successful at trying to monetize our box lunch Zoom programs. Last year we had the year before, we had a very successful urban bocce and bluegrass event out at Rob's Bluegrass Barn where we made $15,000. This year we had to cancel it, and not only did we lose basically the revenue from that opportunity, we also had to pay the band another $4,000. So we've had huge challenges this year because we just can't have people in the structure. We've basically been a shuttered structure for a year now. We have tried to take advantage of all the local PPP loans that have been out there. Shuttered venues will have money request in for. We've even gone to the state and cashed in all the grants that we won. And in the last year and a half, we've won every grant that we've gone for. And for some of them, they have allowed us to convert to regular funding. So we can pay for overhead and pay our electric bills essentially, but our bills are on the next slide. So we have expenses now up in the $300,000 range. And, you know, a lot of our expenses don't go away just because our public goes away. We still have insurance to pay for our collections. It's a little bit above and beyond normal insurance that a regular non-for-profit would have. We still have other opportunities that we need to cover as far as paying for heat. Even though people aren't in the building, we have to keep the relative humidity up to a certain session level so that the collections don't start falling apart like the furniture in your garage that doesn't have any doesn't have any controlled climate and relative humidity. So there's certain things we just can't cut back on, and we start damaging our own collection. And one thing we have is, I mentioned in the opening, we've cut back a little on staff. Now, our executive director and our office manager didn't leave because we laid them off, but they could read a spreadsheet and they kind of knew what was coming. And we've just had this immense gap. So what's the next slide, please? So we still need some pretty serious assistance right now. We're really got our backs up against the wall, and we have to fill a certain gap. And it's a huge one. I have a lot of optimism. I'm a very optimistic person. I really believe that some of the givers in our community are going to come through and that our upcoming gala will be successful. However, the $6,000 increase we're asking from you would really, really help to bridge that gap. Next slide. So just to let you know that we've really made an effort to do the best we can, but COVID really canceled us. It canceled our on-campus tours, all of our rentals, our Back's Lunch Talks, as I said, are online, our bus trips are gone. Really, the sales from our gift shop are languishing, but we do a lot of online sales, believe it or not, and that's pretty good with books. Our in-person efforts for private fund solicitation has been brought to a halt. People just don't want to go to lunch with you and listen to about, how they can pitch in and help out because we can't really be together. And of course, our big efforts like the Bluegrass Bourbon and Bocce was canceled. Along with our in-person gala had to be rescheduled 3 times last year. And the 3rd time we just did it online the best we could. So we are really working hard at raising our memberships and raising our funds, but we could really use some help. Next slide, please. So in bridging the gap, again, we're continuing to look for grants. We are applying for everything that comes along. We have continued with staffing lapses, and we are continuing to use our endowment fund, but I'll let you know, we've used about half of it with this year's challenges. We continue to search and look for any kind of consistent funding assistance, and we now just come to you with a request. We haven't had an increase from the county since 2015, and we're just hoping that this $6,000 could really make us step over that final line. I think that might be the last slide. Oh, well, lastly, I just want you to know how much we appreciate the strong partnership we have with Carroll County. It is our only steady public funds is from you folks. And I just want you to know that that is something we really covet. It's the one thing we can hang our hat on. And I really want to thank you for being there with us for so many years. Can we just hope for a little more help? I'm asking, in a humble way, along with everyone else. And I want to thank you for your continued support in this really difficult time.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Any comments?
Ms. McMaster, I just want to state, if and when you guys decide to do another Bluegrass Festival, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help sponsor that. I'm a very big fan of bluegrass. I think that's a very innovative idea to raise funds.
Well, thank you, Eric. You will be on my short list because last time we literally sold out in tickets. So I'm going to have to make special arrangements for you.
Well, I thank you very much. Also hit up our budget director. I know he's a big fan of bluegrass music as well.
Ted, he might be on my list now.
Okay, so now that we got Ted falling off his chair for one-time funds and for sponsoring Bluegrass, anything else? Okay, really appreciate the time. Kristen, let's move on to the circuit court. Is Judge Hecker with us, or who do we got talking?
Probably running ahead.
Might be.
Hey, Ted, who do we have? Do you know?
What was the schedule for?
It's supposed to be Judge Hecker, but maybe we're 40 minutes early.
Okay, can we reach out to him and see if he's available?
Yeah.
Waste got place to go today. Come on.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I got
Hecker
a lot
know
to do
this?
this afternoon.
I mean, this is all about Commissioner Wentz getting the
Exactly.
schedule right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
let's be clear. Let's be
And
clear.
yeah, Miss Wyndham, can you bring a little bit more water for Commissioner Wentz, maybe with a lemon and a croissant?
Do you think that's unfair treatment?
I'm just saying, well, he's had 3 or 4 Mission
Lever.
barbecue
Don't step-
sandwiches.
Lever.
That's probably why I need all the water to wash them down.
I know.
And
No,
there it
He
is.
just on again.
And there it is.
I was not sleeping in that picture.
It was close.
You were you were contemplating. There's a big difference.
It was close.
I was contemplating.
We have Ted.
Okay, Ted, so.
We are in contact with them now, so I don't have an answer for you yet. But, they'll be there at 2:10.
Okay, what? 2:10.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a recess till 2:10.
Unless there's an update or anything, or we're good, I guess. Right?
Anybody have an objection to recess till 2:10? Do I have a motion to recess till 2:10?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What else can we
Okay.
do?
Recess till 2:10. We are back, and right now, again, agency hearing. The last agency hearing we have for the day is the Circuit Court for Carroll County with Judge Hecker. Sir?
Good afternoon. This is we are requesting, and I think this may be the third year, perhaps the second, but I think it's the third year. We're requesting a client services analyst position, which is a grade 12 to assist with technology needs in the court, IT needs. As you know, Tiffany Walker is our primary IT person for computer and court-related technology issues. Hardly a day goes by when we don't have to call upon Tiffany for one thing or another, or Sexton, excuse me. And this has been particularly true, of course, since we've been doing remote hearings since last March, and we continue to do those even though courts are now reopened to the public. We continue to do quite a number of hearings remotely. I get a lot of requests from lawyers and non-lawyers to be allowed to participate in hearings remotely, and routinely we grant those requests. The increase in courtroom technology requires our IT person to be in multiple courtrooms to assist setting up attorney presentations. This is going to become even more pronounced once we resume jury trials and the state's attorney's office or other lawyers have digital evidence that they wish to present to the jury. And inevitably, you know, it's Murphy's Law, something you can test these things out. And they do. The lawyers go in a half an hour before trial and they test it out and it works perfectly. And then in the middle of the trial, when they're ready to show something to the jury, it doesn't work. And then we have to call IT in. Our bail reviews, as you probably know, are conducted remotely via Polycom. There's been some sort of technical issues in the last couple of weeks. I think they may have got it straightened out now, but you know, Tiffany was, every time bail reviews are scheduled for us at 1:30, they're scheduled in the district court, who uses the same system in the mornings. And so she needs to get where she needs to be on a moment's notice. Not directly related to the court, but I know that law enforcement is going to be increasing the use of body cameras. That will have an impact on the court when more digital evidence becomes used, is going to be used in court proceedings, and thus the need for greater technology needs. So those are sort of the larger issues. Day-to-day issues, there always is, as you know, I'm sure in your building as well, troubleshooting computers and printers and cameras and door access issues and the like. Everything we do today is controlled by technology. So for that reason, we're making this request. I'm happy to answer any questions or try to answer any questions.
Okay, Judge, thank you. Any questions, comments? Pretty straightforward. I just got questions at Auburn or UVA tie, or what's the
well, this is a Gettysburg tie. I know you're a Muhlenberg guy. At least your son is a Muhlenberg guy. But I had to wear orange for Oriole opening day. Did they get canceled?
Yes.
They did.
Yeah,
I knew the weather forecast was pretty bleak. I remember as a kid going to a few Oriole games in April when it snowed, so it's not that unusual that we have this. But so that was the reason wearing orange today.
That's right. I forgot. Gettysburg. That's small. On the way to Muhlenberg. So.
Is Muhlenberg, do they have a lacrosse season this year, or did they cancel it?
No, they do. They do. I don't know how many games they're playing. And I know Sam is practicing football and throwing, but you know. Okay. Without extending this any longer, any comments or questions? for the judge. I appreciate the time and I appreciate you getting on a few minutes early as well in sharing this request.
My
Okay.
pleasure. Always good to see you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Have a good day.
yes, sir. With that said, is there anything else? Yep.
I do want to bring one other thing up. In the past, we used to get a list of positions that were asked for by different agencies, different, our people that work for us and like sheriff's office, and listed about there was a committee was put together and said these were the top positions, or we're not doing that anymore, or it's because we don't have we used to have that fund also about $300,000 or so. And I thinking we don't do that because we don't have the fund anymore. Is that anybody know? Roberta?
I don't know.
I think that's why I believe, but I think, anybody who, I think the fire service sort of set the priority on the folks that need.
Oh, yeah. But that's,
In throughout the building. And I think that kind of took care of that request, I think, Dennis, although the dispatchers asked for some too, but.
right, yeah.
So I think all in all, that's
Ted-
where that is anyway, I think.
Ted, do you have insight on this one or you want to share? You're muted. You're still
I'm
muted.
Sounds so good.
No, you're still muted.
Okay. Yes, it's hard to answer if I have insight because I was away from my desk for a minute and I don't know what I'm supposed to have insight on.
Insight on why commission, no, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
We used to get the last couple of years, we got a list of agencies and departments that were looking for personnel or looking for people. And we had a committee that went together and ranked those people so we could have a good understanding of who needed what and where. We don't have that this year. Is that because we don't have that $300,000 that we set aside? It's no longer included in the budget, or is there a different reason?
It's because of the environment we're in. There didn't seem to be a point in going through a big process of vetting positions when we were concerned that we were going to be having to cut the budget. So, of course, things have changed some since that point to the process. And I'm not sure exactly how we would do the process, but if you ask people, are there positions you're interested in? I know there are. And of course, the other thing is even now, even though things didn't get as bad as we feared they might, we know we're still in a position where we can't balance the known expenditures, let alone choose to take on additional ones with new positions.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else we have for the good of the group?
That was it for agency hearings.
That
right?
is it for agency hearings. To Tuesday morning, we go into open session. Tuesday afternoon, we go
Start
into
the-
work session.
Okay.
And then
And
Thursday,
then
both morning, afternoon is.
A
work session.
reminder, I think, Ed, you and I talked about this with starting off Tuesday afternoon with our priorities.
That's correct.
That each of us would like to do. And
Yep.
there'll be some duplication there,
Absolutely.
but I think that's good too. But
Sure.
I think that's a good place to start on Tuesday afternoon, what we'd like to see. And then
Yeah. No,
that would be
I
the wish
agree.
list, right?
I mean, if we target, 3 to 5 priorities amongst us, you're right, there will be overlap, just
Right.
3 to 5. And
That's it.
in your case, 2.
They're called priorities.
Weaver's list is up to 10. He showed it to me.
No,
So,
but-
Well, that was the old list.
oh, and now it's up to. Jeez,
And that's all north of 140.
Okay.
So 3 to 5 priorities is the intent, and we can start with that. I think it's a great idea. See, that's great. Yours was good earlier, but just saying.
See?
Any other? I'm just saying. Call it like it is. Anything else for the good of the group? I think it's going to be good dialogue. It'll be on Tuesday afternoon down in the Reagan room, correct? But we still will be maintaining virtual. Okay. Anything, Roberta?
Thank you. That's it.
Motion to adjourn till next week.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, got a second. All in favor?
I'm actually voting for it this time.
Okay, we're done.
We're out of here then.